modern and fitted him well, but it seemed as though it was clamped tightly to his body. It locked in his broad shoulders, squeezed the air out of his powerful neck, and disguised his well-developed legs. It wasn't that the suit was too small. It was more a feeling that Lash's body was crying out for more room, more space to be comfortable. It took me a long, embarrassing moment to realize that Lash and our deputy director said my name. I smiled, stood up, and felt the entire length of my cock scrape against the edge of the table. But I composed myself as best I could, ignoring the thick, semi-hard rod that was dangling between my legs, and talked instead about my department, about how things were going, and what our competitors were planning. Fortunately, I managed to employ my natural bravado and gift of the gab, and got some approving nods from those in attendance, and from Lash. A while later, there was a convergence of two completely separate events, something that happens in life every now and again. One of our most fearsome and best competitors contacted me at home, privately, discreetly. They'd heard a lot of good things about me and wanted to know if I'd be interested in heading up one of their most exciting departments. This would mean a promotion, a higher salary, and more responsibility, but, above all, more prestige. They wanted to buy me and were uncommonly generous with the package they were offering. I promised to think about it. The following day at work, at the end of the meeting, Lash revealed he was going to get married. Everyone cheered and congratulated him. It would be his first marriage. He'd never had the time before, he joked, and that 55 was a suitable age to be grown up. Once he had left, the deputy direct gathered the men in the copy room and said that we would organise a surprise stag party. Lash is a joker and a man who appreciates spontaneity on the part of his colleagues. In addition, a great stag party would help bring the group together, he said. He proposed that Carl, a 35-year-old family man, and I should come up with something really special. We had a carte blanche, free access to the expense account, and a whole afternoon, evening, and night at our disposal. Carl was always talking about strippers, sex and breasts, and it was him who suggested that we engage the services of a stripper who looked like a famous American model. I said that perhaps we should take things a little further. Instead of your normal run-of-the-mill stripper, we could find a dominatrix, a woman who loved to exercise power over men. The thought intrigued Carl, and he promised to find a really determined lady who would certainly be able to put Lash in his place. We embroidered the idea, finally agreeing that we could lure Lash to a large hotel on a Friday, and, instead of business breakfast, he'd be called to a room, overpowered, blindfolded, and his underwear removed. He would then be made to wait for the arrival of the aforementioned Miss Domina, who would command him to do things, eventually removing his blindfold and performing a striptease. The idea was that Lash would believe he was alone in the room with her, whilst the rest of us would be absolutely silent and study events from a distance. Carl laughed and said that most powerful men like being tied up. Their boss would